If any of you knew Edith Morgan, who was an activist in this area, she was a social worker in Collingwood in the 60s, and somewhere in her 70s or 80s was a founding member of the Older Women's Network equivalent in Victoria. And she said, not all of us have the opportunity to age positively. But it doesn't mean we don't aspire to ageing well. And she also said to me, and I continue to hear her when I'm ever in these sorts of conversations, is it is my right to die at home, alone, on the floor, if I choose. That is where I want to die. And if that's how I have to die, then that's okay. But that's my choice. Now that's very confronting for any of us who work in this sector. Because we kind of go, ooh, hang on. And I get calls all the time from media and government saying, what are we going to do? You know, there's this person who's been found 12 months after they died in their home. Isn't that appalling? Now, what I want to know is what's appalling. Is it took us 12 months to find them? Or is it that they died alone and possibly in pain? That I find difficult to deal with. And was it their choice? It may have been that they weren't able to connect and find, they weren't supported in ways in which they were able to find ways to connect. So usually my response is, we do not want a service that calls up each day and goes, are you dead? That's not actually what we say, but we say, Mrs. Jones, you okay? And they say, yes. You say, okay, I'll ring them tomorrow. Now, I would prefer us investing in upstream. Mrs. Jones, how would you like to be involved in our community? She might say, I don't, as my mother-in-law used to say, the less people I see, the better it is. Fine. And another woman said to me once, if I see another 4-year-old tap dance, I could kill it. Because there was no quality and meaning in what was going on. It was, you know, it's a bit like the Protestants' work ethic. Idle hands do the devil's work. So we fill people's time with things that we think they should enjoy. One woman taught me a lot at Mount Royal. She was not involved in anything. When I started, I went round and introduced myself to people and had a chat and talked to them what they liked. And of course, the staff were involved in that process because they knew a lot about the residents. And I said, so what is Mavis like? Nothing. Watch out for her. She's aggressive. Really? Why? Don't know. Okay. So I went and chatted with Mavis and no expectations, it was just a chat. And a few weeks later I had another chat to her and I said, so what do you like doing? Not much. What don't you like doing? Lots. So I'm thinking, this is a hard conversation. So I started talking about what did she used to do? What were things of interest? What were the things that she really didn't like about where she was living? It turned out that, you know, she actually liked watching Days of Our Lives. Her choice. And the activities that were run in the place were on at the same time. So what was her choice? You come to activities, you watch Days of Our Lives. That was her choice. So I said to her, so apart from Days of Our Lives, you like that and you hate it when they try and take you away from it, what would you like to do? She said, oh, I don't know what's possible. And that's one of the problems with CDC. When we start to talk about choice, we've been very used to, here's the cupboard, what would you like? Here's a set of things, you choose one. And sometimes we get down to choice, which is there's this or there's nothing. That's not choice. So Mavis and I continued our conversation. It turned out she liked cribbage. Now, I grew up in a house where my grandfather said, it's good for your maths, you've got to learn to play cribbage. And if you don't know what that is, happy to teach you. So I happened to say to her, I can play cribbage. Why don't we see if we can, you know, find a few other people and play? And I mean, I had a great job. What a great job. I got to play. You know, I used to get paid to go to the football. That would be the only way I would go to the football. You wouldn't get me there any other way, but great job. So Mavis and I and a couple of other people set up a 4 o'clock session of cards, and anyone was invited, and that grew. And she would come, and someone said to me, what's the secret? what can you do? I said, I just put it on a time she wanted to do it. Not hard. But no one had sat down and had the conversation with her about what was important and how could that happen. And yeah, it took a couple of months.